The massive chamber fell silent as the blue light faded from the holographic projector. 27 of Earth's most powerful leaders sat around the circular table, their faces still glowing faintly from the alien transmission they had just witnessed. The air felt thick with tension, as if the very atmosphere had changed after hearing those words. Admiral Kim Jae remained perfectly still in his chair. His dark eyes stared at the empty space where the tall, four-armed creature had stood just moments before. The alien's message echoed in his mind like a death sentence. 30 days. That was all the time they had been given before Earth would be forced into permanent isolation from the rest of the galaxy. President Park Hannah slowly placed her stylus on the polished table surface. Her hands had been shaking slightly during the entire transmission, though she had managed to keep her face calm and professional. She looked around the table at the other council members, seeing her own fear and anger reflected in their expressions. 200 ships, whispered General Lee Minute, breaking the heavy silence. He was a tall man with graying hair who had spent 40 years in Earth's military. They have 200 warships just waiting at the edge of our solar system. Colonel Yang Su, the chief of intelligence, pulled up a holographic display showing the outer reaches of their solar system. Red dots marked the positions of alien vessels, clustered like angry wasps around the boundary of human space. Our long-range sensors confirmed the numbers, sir. The enforcement fleet is holding position exactly where they said they would be, and behind them. She paused, her voice catching slightly. Behind them are at least 2,000 more ships from 7 different alien species. The weight of those numbers settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Earth's entire space fleet consisted of fewer than 50 vessels, most of them exploration ships never designed for combat. Against the massive alien armada, humanity appeared to have no chance at all. The Vorthak Empire alone has enough firepower to turn our planet into glass, Yang Su continued. Their weapons technology is at least a century ahead of ours. Maybe more. President Park stood up slowly, her chair sliding back with a soft whisper against the marble floor. Every eye in the room turned to her, waiting for her decision. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but her presence filled the entire chamber. How long have we known this day would come? She asked quietly. Admiral Kim finally moved, turning his head to look at her. 53 years, Madam President. Ever since we first intercepted their communications and realized we were not alone in the universe. And how long have we been preparing? She asked. 53 years, he replied, his voice growing stronger. Every single day since we decoded their first transmission. President Park walked slowly around the table, her footsteps echoing in the silent chamber. They think we spent these past decades trying desperately to join their little galactic club. They think we built exploration ships and sent peaceful messages because we wanted their approval. She stopped walking and faced the group. They have no idea what we've really been doing all this time. General Lee Minute leaned forward in his chair. Madam President, are you suggesting we actually fight them? Even if Silent Thunder Protocol is fully operational, the odds are still impossible. 12,000 ships against their entire galactic military might seem like good numbers, but they have experience, advanced technology, and established supply lines throughout known space. The odds were impossible for our ancestors when they faced overwhelming forces throughout history, President Park replied. Yet here we are. The difference is that our ancestors never had 50 years to prepare for the exact fight they knew was coming. She walked over to the large window that looked out over the sprawling city below. Millions of people went about their daily lives, completely unaware that their entire species had just been sentenced to eternal imprisonment within their own solar system. They gave us 30 days because they think we need time to accept our fate. They believe we'll spend this month in despair, gradually coming to terms with our permanent isolation from galactic civilization. Admiral Kim stood up and joined her at the window. What they don't realize is that we've already accepted our fate. We accepted it 50 years ago when we decided that humanity would never bow to anyone, no matter how powerful they claim to be. Silent Thunder Protocol is ready. President Park asked. Every ship, every crew, every weapon system, Admiral Kim confirmed. The asteroid belt facilities have been producing vessels around the clock for 3 decades. The lunar installations have been disguised as mining operations for so long that even some of our own people believe that's what they actually are. The deep space construction platforms beyond Neptune's orbit have remained completely hidden from alien detection. Colonel Yang-Su activated another holographic display, this one showing the inner solar system. Madam President, our ships are already in position. They are powered down to minimum signatures, scattered throughout the system in predetermined locations. When you give the word, 12,000 vessels will light up simultaneously. President Park turned back to face the council members. Her decision made. Initiate Silent Thunder Protocol. Classification Level Omega. All departments are to proceed with final preparations immediately. She paused, looking each person in the eye. In 30 days, the galaxy is going to learn something very important about humanity. We don't surrender. We don't accept defeat. And we definitely don't stay silent when someone tries to cage us. As the council members began filing out to coordinate humanity's greatest gamble, Admiral Kim remained by the window. In his desk lay detailed reports about alien ship designs, weapon capabilities, and tactical doctrines that had been studied and analyzed for decades. The aliens thought they knew everything about humanity based on the peaceful messages Earth had sent into space. They were about to discover how wrong they had been. Captain Cho Minute pressed his hands against the thick glass of the observation window, watching sparks fly as the final pieces of the massive warship came together below him. The UES determination was almost complete, and it was beautiful in a deadly way. The ship stretched out for nearly 2 kilometers, longer than many cities on Earth. Its dark metal hull was covered with weapon ports and armor plating that gleamed under construction lights. Around the giant ship, smaller vessels moved like a pack of hunting wolves. Destroyers and cruisers performed their final tests, their engines glowing bright blue as they tested their speed and turning abilities. Each ship had taken years to build, and each one carried weapons that no alien had ever seen before. How much time do we have left? Cho Minute asked the woman standing next to him. Commander Han Sol looked down at her electronic tablet, checking the latest report from all over the solar system. 23 days until their deadline. Sigh. Platform 7 is almost finished. We are at 94% completion for all ships here. She scrolled through more data. The facilities hidden in the asteroid belt are reporting the same progress. Even the secret base on the far side of the moon has stayed completely hidden from alien eyes. Cho Minute nodded as he watched a squadron of human fighter ships perform impossible turns and loops in the space around them. These small, far ships could move in ways that would make alien pilots sick just watching. What about our new engines? Are they working as well as our engineers promised? Better than promised. Captain, Chief Engineer Park Jun says our fusion drives will make our ships 30% faster than anything the aliens have. And the quantum communication systems are working perfectly. When we attack, every one of our 12,000 ships will be able to talk to each other instantly, no matter how far apart they are. While they talked, the greatest trick in human history continued to fool their enemies. Far away, near Earth, the planet's orbital defense stations had shut down their weapons and shields exactly as the aliens had demanded. Human exploration ships had returned home and were now grouped around Earth like frightened children hiding behind their mother's skirt. Alien spy satellites and long-range sensors saw exactly what the hegemony expected to see, a defeated human race preparing to surrender. But the aliens were looking in all the wrong places. They could not see the enormous construction yards hidden in the shadows of large asteroids, disguised as simple mining operations that had been running for 30 years. They missed the shipbuilding facilities on the far side of Earth's moon, protected by devices that jammed enemy sensors. Most importantly, they never found the deep space construction platforms floating in the darkness beyond Neptune, where humanity's most powerful warships waited in silence. Lieutenant Kim Yu sat in a briefing room going over battle plans for the 100th time. Every human ship carried crews who had trained for years in zero-gravity combat. The soldiers knew exactly how to fight against each different alien species, using their knowledge of alien biology against them. The weapons on every human ship had been designed after studying captured alien technology for decades, then improved with human creativity and engineering. Captain Cho Minute, sir, Commander Han Sol said quietly, making sure no one else could hear her words. The crews are starting to ask difficult questions. They want to know if we really have any chance of winning this fight. The numbers are so overwhelming, thousands of alien ships with centuries of combat experience. Cho Minute turned away from the window to look at her. His weathered face showed the strain of carrying such a huge secret, but his eyes were determined. "Tell them the same thing I told my own daughter before I left home to take this command. We are not fighting to win an impossible battle. We are fighting to prove that no one has a right to put humanity in a cage. If we die in this fight, we will die in a way that makes the entire galaxy remember what they destroyed." He walked over to a different window that showed Earth as a small blue dot in the distance. "The aliens think they gave us 30 days to feel sorry for ourselves and accept defeat. They believe we would spend this time crying and giving up hope." Commander Han Sol joined him at the window, but instead we used every single day to get ready for war. "Exactly," Cho Minute said with a small smile. "They made one very big mistake in their planning. They thought humans would react like any other species they had conquered before. They expected us to be afraid, to surrender quietly when faced with superior numbers and technology." In the construction bay below them, another massive warship began its final engine tests. The fusion reactor came online with a low rumble that they could feel through the floor of the observation deck. Bright blue flames shot out from the engine ports as the ship tested its ability to accelerate and maneuver. "What they did not understand," Cho Minute continued, "is that giving humans time to prepare for a fight is the most dangerous thing you can possibly do. We have spent 50 years getting ready for this exact moment. Every ship, every weapon, every battle plan has been designed specifically to fight the galactic hegemony." Around them, the secret fleet of humanity continued its preparations. In a few weeks, 12,000 ships would reveal themselves to a shocked galaxy. The aliens expected silence and surrender. Instead, they were about to face the largest military surprise in galactic history. Earth was ready to prove that humanity would never stay silent. The sun rose over Earth on the most important day in human history. 30 days had passed since the aliens delivered their ultimatum, and now the moment of truth had arrived. In cities around the world, people gathered around their televisions and computer screens, waiting to see if their species would surrender or fight back against impossible odds. High above the planet, the alien enforcement fleet moved into their final positions like predators circling wounded prey. 200 massive warships spread out in perfect formation, their dark hulls blocking out stars as they prepared to accept humanity's surrender. At the center of the fleet, Ambassador Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the enormous battle cruiser Dominion. The four-armed alien felt confident and relaxed as he prepared to receive Earth's formal submission. "All ships report ready," Ambassador said as tactical officer. The human vessels appeared to be maintaining their defensive positions around their homeworld. "We count 847 ships total, exactly what our intelligence predicted." Veltar nodded with satisfaction. The humans had exactly the number of ships that alien spies had reported over the past several years. Their entire fleet was gathered around Earth like frightened children hiding behind their mother. "Excellent. Open a communication channel to the human leadership. It is time for them to officially surrender their independence." Far below, on the bridge of the UES Determination, Admiral Kim Jae stood perfectly still as he watched the tactical display. The screen showed the alien fleet in red dots, positioned arrogantly close to Earth. Around the planet, green dots marked the positions of human ships, but only some of them. The display showed 847 vessels, the visible portion of humanity's fleet that the aliens expected to see. What the display did not show were the other 11,153 ships hidden throughout the solar system, powered down to almost nothing so alien sensors could not detect them. These sleeping giants waited in the shadows of asteroids, behind moons, and in the deep darkness of space beyond the outer planets. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the alien flagship," reported Communications Officer Lee Bo. Her voice was steady, but her hand shook slightly as she worked at her control panel. "Ambassador Veltar is requesting final confirmation of our surrender." Kim Jae looked at the chronometer display. 30 days, 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Exactly the amount of time the aliens had given humanity to accept defeat. Instead, humans had used every single moment to prepare for the greatest surprise in galactic history. "Open all communication channels," Kim Jae ordered in a calm, clear voice. "I want every ship in the solar system to hear this message, human and alien alike. Full spectrum broadcast on all frequencies." The bridge became completely silent. Every officer and crew member knew that the Admiral was about to speak words that would change the galaxy forever. Some looked nervous, others excited, but all of them felt proud to be human on this historic day. Kim Jae stepped forward to the main communication console. His weathered face was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. These words had been carefully planned for weeks, and now it was time to deliver them. "Ambassador Veltar," he began, his voice carrying clearly through space to both human and alien vessels. "You came to our solar system expecting to witness Earth's surrender. Instead, today you will witness humanity's declaration of independence." On the alien flagship, Veltar's confidence began to crack. Something in the human's voice was wrong. This did not sound like a defeated species begging for mercy. "You made an assumption about how we would spend these 30 days, Kim Jae continued. "You believe we would waste this time in despair and fear, slowly accepting our fate as prisoners in our own solar system. You assumed we would spend these weeks preparing surrender documents and teaching our children to accept alien rule." Kim Jae paused for a moment, looking around at his bridge crew. Each face showed the same fierce pride and determination. "You were completely wrong. We did not spend these 30 days in despair. We spent them in preparation. You believed humanity would remain silent in the face of your threats. That was your biggest mistake." At exactly that moment, fusion reactors throughout the solar system came online simultaneously. The coordinated activation had been planned down to the second, and now it created the most spectacular display of power the galaxy had ever seen. From behind asteroids, massive dreadnoughts powered up their engines, filling space with brilliant blue light. From the shadows of moons came battle cruisers, their weapons charging with energy that made alien sensors scream warnings. From the deep darkness beyond Neptune, humanity's most advanced warships revealed themselves like new stars being born. On alien ships throughout the system, tactical officers stared at their displays in complete shock. Red warning lights flashed as sensors detected energy signatures beyond anything they had expected. Where a moment before there had been empty space, thousands of human warships now blazed with power. "Impossible," whispered Veltar as he watched his tactical display. Green dots representing human ships appeared everywhere, behind every asteroid, around every moon, in every shadow where scouts had reported empty space. "How many ships are there?" His tactical officer's voice cracked with fear as he reported the numbers. 12,000 vessels, Ambassador. We are detecting 12,000 human warships powering up simultaneously. The balance of power in the solar system had changed in a single moment. The alien fleet that had come to accept an easy surrender now found themselves outnumbered 60 to 1 by an enemy they had completely underestimated. Admiral Kim Jae's voice continued to broadcast across the system, reaching every ship and every crew member in the greatest fleet humanity had ever assembled. "Earth rejects your ultimatum, Ambassador Veltar. We will not be caged. We will not be silenced. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars not as your subjects, but as your equals." The moment had arrived for humanity to prove they were not the weak species the aliens believed them to be. Instead of waiting for the enemy to attack Earth, Admiral Kim Jae had decided to strike first. This was Operation Thunderbreak, the most daring military plan in galactic history. While alien reinforcements rushed toward the Sol system expecting an easy victory, human forces were already attacking their bases in 3 different star systems at the same time. On the bridge of the UES Determination, Admiral Kim Jae watched multiple tactical displays showing battles happening across dozens of light years. Each screen showed human ships moving like deadly dancers through space, striking at alien installations with perfect timing and coordination. The quantum communication system allowed all human forces to work together as if they shared the same mind, even when separated by vast distances. "Admiral, we are receiving status reports from all strike forces," announced Colonel Yong-Su, her voice coming through the advanced communication system with crystal clarity. "Strike Force Alpha has successfully captured the Centauri relay station. The aliens never saw them coming. Strike Force Beta is currently engaging hegemony supply bases in the Vega system. All targets are being destroyed on schedule." Kim Jae nodded with satisfaction. For 50 years, humanity had been watching and learning about their eventual enemies. Every alien ship movement, every supply convoy, every communication between alien worlds had been secretly recorded and studied. Human intelligence officers had mapped out every weakness in the hegemony's military structure, noting which bases were poorly defended and which communication hubs were critical to their operations. The aliens made a terrible mistake when they gave us time to study them, Kim Jae said to his bridge crew. They thought we were too primitive to understand their technology and tactics. Instead, we learned everything about how they fight, how they think, and most importantly, how to defeat them. Near Earth, Captain Parkso commanded a squadron of human destroyers as they began their attack on the alien flagship Dominion. Her ships moved through space with an elegance that seemed impossible to the watching aliens. The advanced fusion drives allowed the human vessels to change direction instantly, accelerate to incredible speeds, and perform maneuvers that would crush the crew of any normal spacecraft. All ships, focus your attack on their communication arrays, Parkso ordered as a squadron dove toward the massive alien battlecruiser. If we can cut off their ability to coordinate with each other, the entire fleet will fall apart. The human destroyers move like a pack of wolves hunting a much larger prey. They came at the alien ship from 6 different directions at once, firing precisely targeted shots at the enemy's most vulnerable systems. Their weapons had been specifically designed after years of studying captured alien technology, and each shot found its mark with devastating accuracy. On the bridge of the Dominion, Ambassador Veltar watched in growing horror as his carefully organized fleet began to fall apart around him. Human ships appeared and disappeared faster than his sensors could track them, striking at his vessels from angles that should have been impossible. "How are they moving so fast?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Our sensors can barely follow them." "Their propulsion technology appears to be far more advanced than our intelligence reports indicated," the officer replied, his voice shaking with fear. "These are not the primitive vessels we expected to face." The alien fleet's confidence crumbled as they realized they were not fighting the weak enemy they had prepared for. Human ships used tactics that alien military doctrine had never encountered. Instead of forming traditional battle lines, the human vessels moved in small groups that struck quickly and then vanished before the aliens could respond. Each attack targeted exactly the right systems to cause maximum damage with minimum risk. Across the battlefield, the ethereal collective psychic warriors prepared to use their mental powers against the human crews. These aliens were the pride of the hegemony military, capable of crushing enemy minds and driving entire crews insane with fear. Commander Kedere, one of their most powerful psychic fighters, focused all her considerable mental abilities on the bridge crew of an approaching human destroyer. She expected to find the usual chaos of primitive minds, fear, confusion, and thoughts that could be easily twisted and controlled. Instead, her psychic probe struck something that felt like hitting a solid metal wall. The human minds were completely protected by some kind of mental shielding that she had never encountered before. "Impossible," Kedere whispered as she tried again, pouring more power into her psychic attack. No primitive species should be able to resist the collective's mental dominance. But her second attempt failed just as completely as the first. The human crew members continued their work without any sign that they even noticed her psychic assault. Worse yet, some of the humans seemed to be naturally immune to mental manipulation, their minds organized in ways that made telepathic control simply impossible. On the human destroyer, Captain Lee Won smiled as he felt the alien psychic attack bounce harmlessly off his ship's mental defenses. "Looks like they are trying their mind tricks on us," he announced to his crew. "Good thing we came prepared for that particular party." The psionic shielding had been one of humanity's greatest innovations during their decades of preparation. After capturing alien telepaths and studying their abilities, human scientists had developed both technological and biological defenses against psychic manipulation. Some humans had even been genetically modified to be completely immune to mental control. As the battle raged throughout the solar system, one fact became clear to both sides. The species of the aliens had dismissed as primitive had not just built a powerful fleet, they had revolutionized the very nature of warfare itself. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. 3 months had passed since the great battle that changed everything in the galaxy. Ambassador Veltar stood in the exact same room where he had once delivered an ultimatum to humanity, demanding their surrender. But now everything was different. The proud alien who had once threatened to destroy Earth now stood with his 4 arms hanging at his sides in defeat, asking for peace instead of demanding submission. President Park Hannah sat at the head of the same table where she had once listened to threats against her species. Now she faced representatives from 7 different alien civilizations, all of them asking humanity to stop their devastating attacks across the galaxy. The balance of power had completely shifted, and everyone in the room knew it. The Galactic Council officially requests a ceasefire, Veltar said, his voice much quieter than it had been 3 months ago. His glowing eyes, which had once burned with arrogance, now showed only exhaustion and defeat. Our combined military forces have suffered losses that we never thought possible. Your ships have captured 17 of our most important bases and cut off our main supply routes between star systems. He paused, struggling to say words that no member of the hegemony had ever spoken before. We must acknowledge that we may have been wrong about humanity's true capabilities. We underestimated your species in ways that have cost us dearly. From his flagship orbiting Earth, Admiral Kim J transmitted his response to the alien delegation. His weathered face appeared on screens throughout the chamber, and his voice carried the authority of someone who had just won the greatest military victory in galactic history. You did not misjudge our capabilities, Ambassador Veltar. You misjudged something far more important, our character. Kim J leaned forward, his dark eyes fixed on the alien representatives. You made the mistake of thinking that because humanity was younger than your civilizations, we would automatically accept your judgment about our worth. You believed that age equals wisdom, and power equals a right to rule others. That was your fundamental error. President Park stood up slowly, her small figure somehow filling the entire room with authority. Around her, holographic displays showed the current state of the galaxy, human fleets patrolling former hegemony territory, alien bases flying human flags, and most importantly, ships from different species working together for the first time in galactic history. Earth does not seek to simply join your old galactic order, she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber and beyond the alien worlds throughout the galaxy. We intend to create something entirely new. The age of strong species dominating weaker ones is over. We propose a completely different way for civilizations to interact with each other. She activated a holographic display showing her proposed changes to galactic government. No single species will have the right to rule over others. Technology and scientific knowledge will be shared freely among all member civilizations. Most importantly, when we discover new developing species, we will protect and help them grow, not threaten them or force them into slavery. In orbit around Earth, Admiral Han Sol walked through the research laboratories of a flagship, watching something that would have been impossible just months before. Former hegemony scientists worked side by side with human engineers, sharing knowledge and creating new technologies together. The combination of alien wisdom and human creativity was already producing innovations that neither species could have developed alone. How are the joint research project progressing? Han Sol asked Dr. Kim Soo, the chief scientist overseeing the technology exchange program. Beyond our wildest expectations, Admiral, Dr. Kim replied, gesturing toward a group of humans and aliens working together on a new type of faster-than-light engine. The aliens have scientific knowledge accumulated over thousands of years, while we humans bring fresh perspectives and creative problem-solving approaches. Together, we are discovering things that neither of us could have found separately. Han Sol smiled as she watched a young human engineer explaining a new weapon design to a group of fascinated alien researchers. The former enemies were becoming partners, learning from each other in ways that benefited everyone involved. Back in the negotiation chamber, the alien delegates whispered among themselves in their various languages, trying to understand this new reality they found themselves in. For millennia, galactic civilization had been based on the simple principle that older, more powerful species ruled over younger, weaker ones. The idea that all civilizations could be equal partners was completely foreign to them. What guarantee do we have that humanity will not simply replace the hegemony as a dominant power? Asked Ambassador Kelnoro of the Ethereal Collective. You have proven your military superiority. What prevents you from becoming the new rulers of the galaxy? President Park looked directly at the psychic alien, her mind protected by the same shielding technology that had defended human crews during the battle. Because ruling over others was never our goal, Ambassador, we fought not to become your masters, but to prove that no one has a right to be anyone's master. She gestured toward the holographic display showing human and alien crews working together throughout the galaxy. Look at what we have accomplished in just 3 months of cooperation. Former enemies are becoming allies, sharing knowledge and protecting each other. This is a future we offer, not domination, but partnership. As the negotiations continued, one fact became clear to everyone in the room. Humanity had not just won a military victory, they had fundamentally changed what it meant to be part of galactic civilization. The galaxy would never be the same, and for the first time in millennia, that change was for the better. The age of cooperation had begun, and it started with 12,000 ships that refused to let Earth stay silent.